Welcome. Welcome to Thoughts Roundup. Thank you for being on the program with us today, watching the program today. Well, we have Brother Townley with us. So nice to see you.
And I'm glad to be here.
We've known each other a while.
Yes, sir.
And Brother Townley, you know we're going to get into where we come from.
Got to get into where we come from.
You know, I'm from Hyanniston, Louisiana, and you wasn't very far from Hyanniston.
Not far at all.
Was you across the river?
You know, we were right there in what we call Cravens.
Cravens.
So you take 10, headed toward Pitkin, and you take fire.
You're not talking about Interstate 10.
No. No, it's a 2-lane all the way through there.
Yeah.
And then you'd hit that, what we call Fire Tower Road.
Fire Tower Road.
That's it. And it was just hot top or blacktop, just a little ways, then it hit a dirt road. And then it was miles of dirt road. And we lived back on a off that road. So, you know, it was in the woods. We were raised barefooted and horses and dogs.
Now he was talking about hot top road. How long has it been? See, that's when they first started putting in roads.
That's what they call it.
Hot top.
You know, I remember most of my life my daddy using the term Icebox.
Oh yeah, Icebox. It was still a refrigerator.
That's it.
And has he got a better name yet?
Well, he still call it an Icebox. And I find myself every now and then, go get a Coke out of the Icebox.
Now the reason they did that, we'll have to explain it, is because we first got a box and they would put ice in there, and it was fixed to where it would seal up a little tighter and last a while.
Yeah.
And so out to the Icebox. Let's see if I can get this all together. Old boy over there in Hyanniston said that, let's see how it was. He bought an Icebox and a refrigerator. An Icebox and a radio the same day from Sierra Roebuck, but he didn't have time to hook it up. And he told his wife he'd hook it up, but she couldn't wait while he was going to work. She hooked it up, and he said when he got home, the radio was all frosted over, and the Icebox was playing Springtime in the Rockies. So, you know, the problem when we get together, we get reminiscing. You're all the way up in Maine now, aren't you?
All the way up in Maine. You know, every time I get to see you, Brother Marler, it just brings back my childhood memories. And you start talking about things that I'm so familiar with. You know, we were really raised very close, and really a lot of similarities. I remember in the old church in Cravens, in the old Pitkin Church.
Yeah.
Pardon me, Pitkin Church, the church in the Curve.
In the Curve.
Yeah, that's it. Brother Charles Cooper was my pastor.
Yeah.
And we had outhouse. When we first came to God, there were outdoor toilets.
Outdoor toilet.
Yeah, 2-seaters.
Well, now, do you know how you know if it's a 2-seater or a 1-seater? If you sit down and set your flashlight down, don't ever see it no more.
That's
it's a 2-seater.
Yeah, I remember, brother, one of the preachers was preaching, and they said, there's a bear out there. And they were talking about sin. There's a bear out there. I needed to go to the restroom, but I said, I am
not going outside.
There's a bear out there.
Okay, what's the name of the town up in Maine?
Maine it's Brewer, Bangor.
Brewer.
So you'd fly into Bangor. We're about 8 minutes from the airport, but Brewer's where it's at.
You know, I was up there one day changing planes, and I said something to the girl about at the ticket about Bangor.
Oh.
She said, "You've listened to too many country music stations."
It's not Bangor. They'll tell you too.
They'll let you know quick. It's Bangor.
Yeah, you know if somebody's from Bangor or not by how they will say it.
Oh yeah, Bangor and Bangor. Yeah, well, your church I hear is doing super.
Yes, sir. It's doing great. Of course, it's the church right there in Brewer. It's first established in 1937. So it's an old church.
Yeah.
We've had a Christian school now going on 44 years.
Yeah.
And of course, Brother David Smith pastored there for 38 years.
Yeah.
And built a great church there. And we've been now pastoring there for the last 12 years. It's been an incredible journey. God's given us great revival. And it's just a beautiful.
You know, when I preach a camp meeting, one of the camp meetings, well, this was a youth camp.
Okay.
Brother David Smith was one of the campers.
Yeah. One of the campers.
Yes, and he got his. He either prayed through or rededicated, consecrated, and been going ever since.
Would that have been out in the Pico?
Yeah, Pico camp.
Right. They've got a great camp out there.
Yeah, and they still have it going.
Still
and
have it
everything.
every year.
Yeah. So
Great camp.
well, that is so good. I tell you what, it's now. If you ever get to wishing or wondering if you should be back in Louisiana versus there, don't let that trick you. It's like my uncle one time, a Baptist preacher, my Uncle Mama's brother. I loved him, and I was talking, I was home, and the wind was blowing. I said, "Uncle B, look at here, this wind blowing through here, and all these trees, and the home." And
Yeah.
he said, "But it's not like that all the time."
That's so true.
And boy, he spoke words.
Why?
But it's not like that here all the time.
That's why you need the will of God.
That's the will of God.
Because the will of God will keep you, regardless whether the wind's blowing in your favor or against you. And of course, we're 2,000 miles away from home. I've only been able to visit my mother's grave in the last maybe 10 years. One time, and it was on her birthday, and I whispered happy birthday to her, and those are the things that you miss, but at the end of the day, like you said, the will of God covers all of those.
I've made peace with that that you're talking about. My folks are buried over in Hindeston, Louisiana, and they're waiting for the judgment
That's it.
coming of the Lord. And what's the difference? What's the difference? My wife, I have plots there buried, and I'm always going to be buried in Fellowship Cemetery.
Fellowships.
But my wife passed away during COVID, and we couldn't get her home. If we'd have got her home, nobody could have come to the funeral. And we buried in South Carolina. Who cares?
Who cares?
What's the difference? And
The will of God.
Yeah, that's right. And so that kind of. Well, what's your projected goals?
We're right now. We have a great facility, a beautiful thing. Brother Smith built a great facility there.
Yeah.
We have that facility that in time, Lord willing, we want to sell that facility because we filled it, and we bought 30 acres on the freeway.
Oh, have you?
And it's all paid off. And so her next goal, we're already through our first phase of our blueprint for the new building. And so property's paid off. We're now going in for our site plan. We're getting, of course, the ticker count of all the traffic impact
Yeah.
and topographical, all that's going on right now. with our city, things like that. So we're very quickly going to be before the city. So we've already got our top-down blueprint, and our next portion is getting our engineered blueprint. So by the grace of God, we're having to set out chairs just every service.
Oh, that's super.
So it's people say, well, it's hard to have revival in the north, but I want to tell you, people are hungry everywhere.
Yeah.
And
it's a matter of putting the same thing to it that you have to put everywhere.
It works. The Word of God works in every culture.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, I love that part of it. Because whenever I was preaching one of the camp meetings, it might have been the first time, I don't know, I get the camp meetings mixed up with youth camps, but anyway, they brought me over some lobsters. I had a cabin to stay in, and they brought me over some lobsters and gave me the lobsters, and I didn't know what to do with them, and so I threw them away.
Oh no! Well, when you come to Maine,
no, wait, hold on, let me finish. Don't forget, and so I didn't know what to do with them. I threw them away. The next year, I went to preach a camp meeting. The secretary that said, the district came, said, "We know you threw the lobsters away last time. We've come fix them to where you're going to eat them and like them." And they brought them over and they fixed them and put hot butter and dipped those tails in those. Man, they said, "Now you're going to you're going to like them, but you're going to like them better later. You're going to find yourself wanting them." Did you know that's just exactly the way it was? I got to wanting lobster.
Yeah.
Good.
We take that. We take those same things and we put Cajun seasoning on it.
Oh, do you?
And grill them. So that really gives it a different little flair. We really like it. I thought you perhaps had missed out on the lobster. I was going to say, when you come to Maine, we're going to take care of you. We'll make sure that we call that lazy boy lobster. We pill them for you so you don't have to pill them.
Oh, yeah, I think it. All I want's a tail.
Really?
Yeah, your lobster tail, yeah. And, ooh, that's the best meat.
We can get 4-pound lobsters pretty regularly. We can get it, but we find that the 1.5 to 2-pound lobster grilled will give us some beautiful flavor, delicious flavor.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about George Cook.
Oh.
You never did know Brother Cook. I want to tell you, Brother Cook was, he was a leader. He was a bishop up in there. I first knew him in Massachusetts, and then he moved over to Maine, and he was one of the greatest men. I preached his funeral, and I guess he's buried there in your town.
Well, he may have actually, I know there's been 7 pastors, and he may have been one of the pastors of our church.
He was in Brewer.
Yeah,
Brewer.
Yeah, he would have been one of the former pastors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And boy, he was one of the greatest men. He was my mentor. He was my bishop. He was, of course, we just knew it. We didn't say it so
Just
much.
knew it.
Yeah.
So, Brother Cook, do you have any history of him or any record of him?
Yeah, and I tell you what, when we get to ourselves and over coffee, I want to talk to you about Brother George Cook. In fact, I got a little old book that I've written, and one of the things is in there about George Cook. He was tall, big old hand. He pastored in Foxborough, Massachusetts, before he went there. And I got some good stories to tell you about him and everything. Well, how long are you going to be down?
We're supposed to be here through Friday, but we're probably going to extend it to Saturday.
No, stay another day.
Yeah, stay another day. Brother Holmes always kind of stretches, gets us to
We are incidentally at the camp meeting in North Little Rock,
yes.
Arkansas. and we have stolen a place here in Brother Holmes' office to talk just a little bit to y'all. Give us your church address, because when people travel, they travel a lot now. Tell us how to get.
A lot of people will fly into Boston and they'll get a rental car and drive up that 1A. And that's really a scenic route through 1A, all the little coastal sea towns. But you can fly in Bangor and also rent a car and drive down to Boston. But we're about 8 minutes from the airport in Bangor. But ours is 14 Parkway South, Brewer, Maine.
Say it one more time.
14 Parkway South.
14 Parkway South.
We'd love to for you to come, host you, take care of you. So,
yeah, and there's going to be some folks that's going to be traveling, and they're going to remember this program. There'll be people write this down.
Yes, sir.
Your brother in Jennings.
That's it, yes.
Jennings, Louisiana. I have just written a new book. I'll be talking to you about it. And it's called A Silver Saddle Trimmed in Gold. And he is the man that did the cover.
You know, he kind of let the cat out of the bag a little bit. I was living there for a day or two, and so Sister Amy, which is his secretary, and they helped. They were showing us the different jackets or book covers. And I like yours. I like the one you said.
Yeah, I think I've got the book now. It's printed, and I have a bunch in the car.
Thank you. I have a signed copy, so I'm real blessed.
You're ahead of the game.
That's it.
You're ahead of the game. All right. Thank you so much for being on the program.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And we want to talk again on the programs somewhere on down the line.
We'll do it. God
Thank
bless
you for coming.
Marler.
God bless you.
And you mentioned something here the other day that you were kind of caught between two preachers. Now you mentioned that you had someone you were going to do a camp meeting, and you said that who is it, Brother Odom's preaching one.
And Brother Booker's preaching the other.
Brother Booker's preaching the other side.
They called me in and they said, Brother Marler, would you be one of the speakers at the camp meeting? And I said, well, yes. They said, well, we have Brother Odom and we have Brother Booker preaching. I said, well, neither one of them can preach a lick.
So why in the world would they put you with them? Huh?
Why would they put me, such an outstanding speaker, anointed speaker, with those two duds?
I thought that was funny.
Thank you.
All right, God bless you.
Well, God bless you. Thank you for being on the program with us today.